This one scene quite literally made everyone love this character of Gravity Falls. The season 2 episode The Golf War is loved by a lot of fans, mainly because of this hated character of Pacifica finally showing that she's not just a mean person completely. I had a whole video about Pacifica and her redemption. All you need to know is that before this, Pacifica was really hated. She was rude with two to whatever I said in the other video, and made fun of Mabel's friends and family for the entire show, including the beginning of this episode.
Fat, old, lame, braces.
Zeus, would it be wrong to punch a child?
Which the beginning of the episode perfectly recaps where the characters are at, showing that they're all at bad odds, and Pacifica especially really wants to one-up them, which is why it obviously leads to them going at a golf competition for the rest of the episode. The episodes contrast this competition with Pacifica and Mabel with this competition of the Lilliputians, which eventually comes to a head when the Lilliputians of the windmill hole quite literally kidnap Pacifica and plan on cutting her up, I think, as we see later in the episode. But this makes an epiphany with Mabel, making them realize that they should stop fighting, saying that rivalries are dumb and they should instead work together, which turns against them when the Lilliputians work together to take them down, and I think carve up Mabel to get the sticker out, because they really value that highly for no reason. For truly no reason, considering they just learned about it today. But they fight him off and escape.
What's 10 minus 6?
10... hang on.
Where once again, Mabel again apologizes, giving a I apologize sticker, which is weird. This quirk of her giving stickers doesn't really happen after this episode, but it happens a lot, and this is crucial element to this episode, but it doesn't come up again. And for the first time in the show, Pacifica doesn't try to roast her immediately after, like, Mabel tries to be nice. She says, "You're lucky this will be good on me," which is progress, baby, hello. And then the scene happens. The scene that this episode is kind of building towards a little bit, but this scene didn't need to be in the show. They could have easily just had it be like everybody goes home on their own way, the parents pick her up or whatever, but they purposely decide to have the parents not pick her up, which is very apt for what earlier we hear from the parents. When they drop her off earlier, they told her that winning is all that matters, make sure you win. We won't be here to see it. Make sure you win though, because Northwest don't lose. But then they're not even here to pick them up. So they don't even know that her like golfing teacher isn't here anymore. I guess Pacifica does say that she'll get a new one, and everybody just glosses over that. They just left the man behind for dead just because she'll get a new one because she's rich.
I'll get a new one.
Dipper and Mabel get in the car after Grunkle Stan and Suits pull up to pick them up, but Mabel looks out at Pacifica and looks at Dipper, and Dipper's like, nuh-uh. Which I really like, because it shows that Mabel may be okay with Pacifica now, but Dipper isn't. And I really like that they just have a little moment like that just to show it. But barely before Dipper's even done with his nod, Mabel goes, "Hey, your parents are here. You need a ride?" Which is like, oh, so nice. But I love the way that the audio directioning is. I know this is weird. Am I talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about the audio directioning in this Cartoon Kids show. Hello, everybody. It's MrMatter. I do that. I'm a freak. I have problems with my brain, and Gravity Falls is the only solution. Okay.
Hey, your parents aren't here. You want to ride home?
The way Mabel delivers that line makes me feel at home in like reality, just like somewhat real and blunt. Feels like she's actually talking out of the car at her and like speaking up louder for that. I just really enjoy that aspect. I think it adds a lot to the scene. I think it sets the mood for this entire scene of how like they're gonna have this like just real moment of nicety and sweetness. Oh, it's so sweet, so cute. And Pacifica very obviously not being on that level yet, because she'll accept the sticker and be like, oh, whatever. And she goes, please, as if I'd write in your and then thunder strikes, which would be seen as like, oh, isn't that coincidental? But that literally happens before in the episode, showing that they're in like a stormy week or something. Because literally before, a rainstorm appears to make it to where they have to reschedule for the next day so they can have more dialogue scenes in between there and have them sneak into the park instead of having a competition in midday. So it's more interesting, and they can have the Puchians kidnap Pacifica, and it's fine in terms of people figuring it out. And I just love the hard cut from her standing there upset about the storm to her being equally as wide-eyed inside of the car. And then Grunkle Stan and Seuss are singing a song out of sync and not even being the same song really. But it adds to the fact of like how she's in a different mood right now. She's like with somebody else's family right now. Like this is what it's like to be picked up by somebody else's family, and it captures that mood perfectly, that childhood moment. Dipper's looking to the side out the window, just like trying to avoid the situation, arms crossed, being a little bit uncomfortable clearly. And then Mabel's just like enjoying life, looking out the window happily. And then her putting a hand on a mysterious, unknown, like liquid or goop, which has consistency of gum, but it's like way too much to be gum. And then immediately after she's grossed out by this weird stain, Mabel finds burritos behind finds 2 tacos behind the seat, which is kind of all random. But literally earlier we saw them getting tacos, which is a little nod to that time Dipper went to. Oh, I can't remember the name for some reason. Anyway, it goes to Florida, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, let's all stop.
Are you writing Dipper Goes to...
This says Dipper goes to Florida. I don't know why he would go there.
But what's super interesting about the fact that she takes out these tacos is Pacifica's response to it, because obviously you think she'd be grossed out by the fact she just got grossed out by the goopy on the floor, so she'd be thinking, oh, goopy could be on the tacos, but instead she's shocked that she's able to eat in the car.
You're allowed to eat in the car?
Which again reinforces how strict her parents are. Literally every scene she's in, you can see the effects of what her parents had on her. And it's really just child needs to be taken away, protected from these abusive parents. Are you kidding me? Like, she's obviously like this because of her parents being so pushing her in this direction. Their mom tore up the ugly duckling page for the last page to have it be like, oh, that got ugly and no one loves him, and that was the end of the story. And then Mabel instantly has like just the most Gravity Falls line. It's like, yeah, the car is where secret surprise snacks happens. And it's like, man, I love this show. And then she offers her one and goes, oh, and that's supposed to take handouts, which is like, damn, she is ingrained in this culture of being rich and pompous. Like, she thinks getting a gift for somebody or somebody being your friend and getting something is a handout, which shows really how fake her friends that we've seen before are, to the fact that like they never even just like have given each other like, oh, here's some chapstick to unchap your lips. And I do like that Mabel is like a true friend. She's not like weirded out or being like, oh, she's like this. Like Dipper, if he was that handout, she's like, oh, handouts. Pacifica is such a rich bit. I can't say that. But instead of being like shocked or appalled by it, Mabel instantly being like, you know what sharing is, right? And then she's like, sharing?
Sharing?
Just take it.
Just take it. I love that. The scene is so good at putting Pacifica down to reality of like what a normal human goes by, I guess. Not like a rich 1% person, but instead of like a normal person in Gravity Falls, really. And just having this moment to show like how completely just brainwashed she is within the rich society within this couple of minute thing. It's like not that long of a scene. And even though they could have just had literally anything else in the episode, like flesh out another scene or have more jokes in the episode, instead they decide to flesh out this scene of Pacifica just being in a car with somebody else's family, being picked up and dropped off, just having a normal kid moment, eating tacos in the back of a car, you know? And I'm guessing some time passed because she walks out of the car and doesn't have the taco anymore. And they talk about how she ate the taco, I think. So I'm guessing she ate the taco. We didn't see a scene of her eating a crumbly taco and her going, ew, this is crumbly. And the scene is so nice and good. It has like some jokes in it and it helps flesh out these characters. It has some nice jokes that grounds her, but also like adds laughs to the audience. Because like if you hate her or whatever, then it shows like, oh, she doesn't fit in. But it also makes you be like, oh, she doesn't fit in. She is entirely different in this world. And that's what this episode really does good. It's like before we see her, she's always a top dog. She's either with her family or she's like the leader of a pack of friends or telling a group of people to throw tomatoes at Grunkle Stan or something, you know?
I want you to say that the Northwest family is the best family in Gravity Falls.
Oh, sure. You want that in writing? There we go. Ha! I did that with my mouth!
And in this episode, she's alone. Her family abandoned her at this abandoned golf course at night just because she's doing a competition. And that's clearly the only reason they're allowing her to do this. Which is why I would have loved like another episode of like, what if Pacifica uses the excuse of like challenging Mabel to something to just like hang out and be friends. And that could be like a whole episode. I don't know. It's just so easy to write like concepts for episodes for this stuff because you just want to know where your characters go from here and how they do. Which again, watch the full Pacifica video to for more about that, which any of you guys watching this video likely probably know. This scene was so iconic to some people that this was animated, fully reanimated in an anime style for What If Gravity Falls was an anime video from 10 years ago, 2014, October 9th, 2014, of reanimating this exact scene, showing how important this scene truly is to people, which the animation really got the mood of the scene perfectly and really adding this really complex layer of like what anime style can do and everything, and adding even little new things like Mabel, instead of just standing there looking off into space, she's like bobbing her head around. In the plot of like Gum or Goop or whatever is more of like a tinier amount is like perfectly fit for her hand, But the real reason I'm talking about this, besides talking about an awesome fandom thing that happened, is the scene after she says, just take it. In the actual version of the scene in the show, it just shows him pulling up to the mansion. But in this reanimated version of the scene, it shows Mabel taking a bite of it and her looking down at the taco, showing her truly being moved by this kindness. It really makes this more of an anime moment, which honestly the show would have benefited from just showing Pacifica, because her flashing back, looking down on the taco, flashing back to her being mean to them on all the previous episodes, and just showing that this taco represents like something very nice that she didn't need to do for this person when all she's done is be rude to this person for an entire life. And she has this just little broken smile and teared eye and then eats it. It's like, oh, what an animator can do to add extra context just through animation. No extra dialogue or anything. But either way, this entire scene, the regular scene I'm talking about now, not the anime version, truly made people love her so much because it showed that this isn't just a rich kid, this is a rich struggling kid. But to talk about where the show leaves Pacifica off, is that she walks out and thanks them, which is like first time that happened. Okay. And Pacifica goes, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I had fun. Which shows like, oh, she actually had fun during this. And you gotta wonder like how much she does have fun because of that line. And then compliments Seuss about his W neck.
And tell your servant I like his W neck.
And yeah, she says, tell your servant that I like his W neck. But we're gonna put that aside for a second and say that she actually gave like appreciation to Seuss and Mabel there about like how she had fun today and that the W neck is cool, which is good because earlier in the episode he did that because of her. And the main thing is that she didn't need to say that, but she did because now she's like being nicer.
And tell your servant I like his W neck.
Yes!
It's something I didn't notice. Something I don't think I noticed before is that Grunkle Stan, when he hears that, goes from a full like cheek to cheek smile to like a frown and looks at Seuss as soon as that happens. It's like, I don't. Why is he so upset? Probably because earlier he tried to like seduce him a little bit.
Sure are a lot of stars out tonight. Well, this is getting weird.
And Dipper, being the inquisitive little boy he is, asks if they're cool now because he's not cool with her. And Mabel says, I think we made some progress, which is true. We need another episode, but we made progress. This like character is progressing to us. But just so the audience is at where the crew wants them to be at, they put in this joke of her being like, she's just a regular girl, and then shows a giant fountain and fireworks going off and saying, you win, congratulations on winning, Pacifica. And then the solid joke to like to put down the audience a little bit on like fully redeeming Pacifica goes, should charge her for the taco. Agreed. Which if you're going, oh, Pacifica is like fully getting redeemed right now or having this big push for it, instead it's like, okay, she's having this big push forward to being redeemed, but they need to do a little bit of a pullback with the burrito.
Should have charged her for that taco.
Agreed.
Which is like, oh, you're just gonna do this joke after like you try to redeem this character, but you're not trying to redeem him, you're just trying to push the needle a little bit. Which is why this one scene is so important to this character and what made people love her. It made the scene ground Pacifica in a way we haven't really seen before this episode, and especially in this episode, nothing this severe of having just like her casually talk about things, which leads to us understanding truly like how messed up in the brain she is by how her parents like have forced her to be this way throughout her entire life. And just the symbol of like this taco of being like this nice thing that Mabel is doing when all she's done before is be rude and mean to her. But literally whenever anybody like hates Pacifica or thinks she's the worst and will say it to her face, they completely turn heel as soon as this episode appears usually. And if not, it's with the Northwest Mansion mystery episode, which I talk about more in the full video here. Just like I did with the one joke video and how it goes to the Robbie video, this one is also just like talking about this one scene of why it's important, which is why I kind of glossed over it in my initial analysis, because I really wanted to go in depth in this scene because of how much it does and how much it does for Pacifica's character, specifically the audience's reception to it. It's super important to her character to the point of like being crucial. This is a crucial moment, which is why it was such an important moment that people wanted to animate it. And I think the reason why that video has 53 million views isn't just because it's like, oh, Gravity Falls is really popular right now and it does that. I think it's because it creates an emotional response that the show didn't have, but also emphasizes the way people think about it. Anyway, I thought this was very interesting, and if you guys also think it's interesting, honestly, hit that subscribe. I haven't asked you guys to do that yet in these videos, but like, please just like subscribe and don't miss another video, because I'm going to keep making videos like this, so I would literally like you guys to like be there for it, because it helps me out by the fact you guys are like watching the new videos. Like, obviously views are good, but then like, if you guys really care about this stuff or like me talking about things, the best way you can do that is by subscribing. I really hope you guys enjoyed and watch more if you want. I literally don't know when I'll stop talking about Gravity Falls, and I want to talk about other shows too. I want to talk about Adventure Time, and if I could fit this format into like other shows like Breaking Bad, or then I'll do that too. So look out for that if you guys are interested, and tell me any other shows. Anyways, remember, it's a matter of where you make it. Have a good time.